My name's TRI. I'm doing this video today to tell y'all who I really am. I don't feel like a lot of people know who TRI is. You know me as the YouTuber, the rapper, and all that. But I want to tell y'all who I really am, what I've been through, the pain that I've been through, and what makes me, me. So I'm gonna start this out with my oldest memory, okay? I don't know how many people remember how young you were, but I was 2 years old. My oldest memory was when I was 2 years old, and I seen my dad at the edge of the kitchen, by the refrigerator in the corner, and he had a knife to my mom's throat. He was holding a knife, he was up on her, he had a knife to her throat. I remember this like I was yesterday. He had a knife to my mom's throat. It's hard to talk about this. And he was basically telling her he was gonna kill her. I'm 2 years old, I could barely talk, I could barely do anything. But I remember, I could hear him saying it. I could see him doing it. I can remember the type of lighting it was in the kitchen. It was a dim light, like a yellow light. I remember all this shit. He had a knife to her throat. And he was telling her he was gonna kill her. I didn't understand why it happened at the time. I had no idea what was going on. But the only thing I thought, as a 2-year-old, was that I wasn't gonna make it through that day. I thought I was gonna die that day. And I went and grabbed my brother, who was a baby, an infant, and I picked up my brother and I brought him into my room. And there was a basket of clothes in the closet. And I put me and him in that basket of clothes and I covered us in clothes. Because I wanted to hide us from my dad. I thought he was gonna kill us. And this memory has been in my mind my whole life. It affected me. It affected the way I thought. It affected the way I saw the world. Like I was 2 years old and I actually understood that people are violent and people could kill you. I seen it with my own eyes and I felt it. I felt the fear that I might die that day. And that's my oldest memory, and I feel like that has had a big impact on my life. See, I didn't realize at the time that my parents were on drugs. They weren't right. They were on drugs. They were going out every night, getting f***ed up, doing what they do. And I mean, I'm not here to judge them. People do what they do in their life. But, you know, they grew up in the hippie days. They were, you know, they were young in the hippie days or after that, in that time frame where it was normal to get on drugs and get f***ed up. So I thought that that's just life. I didn't understand that they were on drugs till later in life, but that's what was going on. And it affected them, it affected me, it affected the way they treated us, it affected the way they acted. And it was like, and they weren't just like dabbling drugs, they were getting f***ed up on a regular basis. And it had an effect on our childhood. And for the parents out there that are doing stuff like that, like, yo, just remember, when you're doing all that crazy shit and it's getting you acting all wild and stuff around your kids, that shit matters. Because it affected me. Looking back at that, it affected me. It changed the way I grew up. It affected my childhood, which affected my adulthood. So seeing my parents like doing stuff like that, like the very first time I smoked was because my brother actually found some in my parents' room. I don't know what he was in there looking for. He was looking for something. And he found some in my parents' room. I was like 13, maybe, something like that. My brother was like 11 years old or something. He's like 2 years younger than me. So we're young as hell. He found some weed. He might have been 12. I might have been 14. I can't remember the exact day, years. But like, I was young. My brother found some in my dad's drawer. And we were smoking weed. I ain't gonna lie, it was a good day. Because I had dealt with so much pain. Like after seeing all that violence as a kid, I was depressed, bro. I spent most of my teenage years depressed as just lost. Didn't know what the hell was going on. I wasn't like other kids in school. Like I didn't even want to talk to nobody. I never want to open up to nobody. I wasn't right in the head. So when I smoked that time, that's when I knew. The very first time I smoked, it was like everything was free. And not to be a drug enthusiast, but I'm just saying that was my weed. And I smoked and it was like, boom, I just completely got clean, clear of all the bullshit. And I was like, yo, you know, so I realized that is for people who need it, it's a good thing. It helped me out. So that's what got me into selling, is that as I got to the point where I was like Because, you know, I'm growing up in a middle-class neighborhood. It's a nice neighborhood. You know, it's not the hood. It's decent. It's good. You know, so that's where I grew up, in Clearwater, Florida. But for some reason, I don't know why, I just didn't really fit in with the people from the neighborhood. I had a couple friends, I had some friends, but like, it just wasn't really my scene. Naturally, I just didn't really get along with the people in the neighborhood. A couple people were cool, but for the most part, I just didn't really feel it. So I naturally was inclined to go, because I would live in a neighborhood where it's like, here's my neighborhood, but right across the street is the hood. So for whatever reason, I naturally was inclined to go to the hood and chill with people from the hood, because I don't know, maybe it was just my past and stuff I've been through. It was just more relatable chilling with those people. Like, when I was around them, I felt the vibes and energies were similar. So I naturally went to the hood, and I would be chilling around the drug dealers, seeing them selling. I'd be like, damn, I could do that. So I was inspired by the drug dealers to make money. So I was watching them trapping. I'm chilling with the little brothers and stuff, like young, but I'm seeing the older brothers out here trapping on a laundry machine, weighing out bags, making their money. I'm like, bro, I want to do this. So at like 15 years old, I started selling. That's what got me deep in the streets. Just started selling. Started helping the people in my neighborhood. Like, yo, they need some. They were scared to go get it. They were scared to go to the hood to get it. I wasn't scared. Me and my brother were the only white boys that weren't scared to cross that street and go over there and chill and get some. So we would do it. And that's how I started selling. It was just getting weed for them. Like, they need it. They don't know who to get it from. So I'm going over there, and trust me, there was a tax. There was a tax for making that trip. So I started making money. Off the rip, I started making money. So I got so inspired and so motivated, like, yo, I can do this. This drug dealing shit. This is me. I know how this shit works. I can do this shit. It's not even hard. It's easy, because people need it, and they don't know what the prices are. I'm dealing with these people with money, because in my household, even though my parents had decent jobs, we had a nice house, decent house, middle class house, not no mansion, just a regular house. But it was in a decent neighborhood. But they spent all their money on bullshit, on drugs. So it don't matter what money they made, they were blowing their shit on bullshit. So they didn't really have a whole lot of money to put into us. I needed stuff, I wanted some money. I wanted to be able to do what I wanted to do. So that's what got me into it. Everybody in the neighborhood, their parents weren't doing all that wild ass shit. So I'm over here, I'm slapping heads. I'm getting my money. And that's what got me into drug dealing. At 15 years old, I'm selling, I'm doing my thing, I'm getting my money, because why not? It's here, it's natural for me. It's just, I'm an entrepreneur. So going to school and doing all that, I'm over here, I didn't really bring the shit to school. I was doing my thing outside of school. I'd go to school, do my thing. Like, I'm a smart kid. I went to magnet schools. Elementary, I was in a magnet school. Middle school, I was in a magnet school. I don't know if you know what that is. If you don't know, it's a school where smart people go, and they give you more harder classes, and it's like more advanced. I was in advanced schools. From elementary, middle school, I was in advanced schools. Like, you had to qualify for these schools. You couldn't just go there. You had to qualify and pass tests. They gave me the test, I'm passing them just flying colors. I'm a smart ass kid as an elementary and middle school. But no matter how smart you were, I was getting in fights. I'm at school getting in fights, fighting people. I don't really, I ain't with y'all. I ain't letting people talk that shit. You know what I'm saying? You got something to say, it's a problem. I'm dealing with it. So I got in fights in middle school. I ended up getting kicked out of my magnet programs. They're like, yo, you just wild. You ain't fitting in here. They kicked me out, so I started going to regular schools. But even when I went to regular schools, I was in all honors classes, advanced classes. I was always in advanced classes all through school. So going into high school, I'm over here selling out all night in the hood, getting my money, going to sleep, going to school. Nobody knew I was doing that. I'm going to these classes, I'm with a bunch of people with glasses and all proper. Like, that's my classmates. I'm not even vibing with it. I literally didn't fuck with nobody from my classes. We weren't even on the same. I'm smart as doing what I gotta do, getting good grades, but I'm like, who the fuck are these people in my class? As a juvenile, I had 13 juvenile charges. I was getting arrested every other week in JDC, which is Juvenile Detention Center, back to back, going in there for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, getting back out on probation, taking drug tests, all that shit. This is my high school life. I had my PO come to school 5 days a week. I was on intensive probation because I was getting busted with getting in fights, getting in batteries, just stupid shit. And I'm on intensive probation. Like, I'm this close to going to a program, which would be a boot camp or some sort of juvenile prison. I'm barely skating through. I'm telling you, the only reason I was skating through is because I was a wrestler. I was an amazing wrestler. I was so good at this shit, so determined. And my PO used to go to my wrestling matches and watch me wrestle. And I was a beast. I was out there slamming up, passionate, beating everybody. I barely lost any matches. I lost less than 10 matches in my whole 4 years of doing wrestling. I was like that. And it was like, my PO would see me wrestle. He was like, bro, you don't need to go to no boot camp. You are the truth. Like, I was putting all of my pain and all of my anger into that mat. And it f***ed me up. There was times where I started wilding out, trying to fight motherfuckers in the mat. I ended up getting expelled from school. I get expelled from school because I had a girlfriend. I found out that she cheated on me. Like, I'm wearing my Letterman's jacket. I'm a wrestler, you know what I'm saying? I let her wear my Letterman's jacket. I find a note in her pocket. In that note, she's flirting with a dude. I'm not gonna say no names, but she's flirting with a dude, and I get pissed off. So, you know, we get in an argument in the hallway. Police approach me. So I'm arguing with her. She walks away. I say, you know what? Just get away from me. I throw my phone in there. Just picture of papers flying everywhere. So you got a teacher coming to me. Hey, what's going on? Man, f you. I'm tired of me. That's what I say to the teacher. So the police come up to me. Because the police know I'm a troublemaker. They know my SRO comes every day. At third period, I'm gonna get pulled out of class. I gotta go to the lunchroom, talk to my PO. The police are watching me. They know I'm a troublemaker. They know. I didn't get a lot of trouble in school like that. I was outside getting in trouble, and they knew that. So when this happened, these same SROs walk up to me. They go to talk to me and ask me like, "What's going on?" I say, "F you." They end up taking me to the ground, cuffing me. For nothing, they cuffed me. Now, keep in mind, I just got on probation. At this point in time, I had been on probation for like a couple months. I'm free, finally. Been on probation for 3 years. I'm finally off. And I get in this altercation with my girl. It's not even an altercation, just an argument in the hallway. The police are arresting me now. I don't even know what I did. So I'm sitting in the SRO office. They got me handcuffed. And I'm like, what's up? What did I do, motherfucker? They're like, oh, resisting arrest with violence. Resisting arrest with violence? Why was I getting arrested? I'm resisting because I'm trying, they're literally taking me down the ground, cuffing me. Like, why are you cuffing me? What the f are you cuffing me for? Oh, I didn't do shit. So I said, I'm out of here. You're not gonna arrest me. So I'm cuffed, I get up, I try to walk out the room. And what happens? They follow me. The cops follow me. Like the SRO office, there's the room where the SRO office, and then whenever you're getting arrested, they bring you in another room. So when I busted through the door trying to run away from the cops, I'm like, I'm not getting arrested today. I walk in the next room, and next thing you know, 2 more cops are walking in. They call backup. So now I got 4 cops, 2 from behind me from where I was at, and 2 that are coming in. And I'm like trying to run past them, like, get out of my way. So I'm cuffed. They throw me on the ground, okay? They put me on my stomach. One of them grabs my legs. Picture a guy who's cuffed on their stomach. I'm talking about an 18-year-old man who's in high school still. I'm cuffed on the ground. They pick up my legs. One's holding my arm, so I'm pinned on the ground. One has his knee on my head, so I'm pinned on the ground. I can't move an inch. He pulls out a taser and tases me 3 times in the back. Tases the shit out of me. I never felt that type of energy. Just puts it to me, boom. Tases me once. And trust me, the first time I'm like, F you pigs. I'm cussing them out. I'm not scared. They tased me again. The 3rd time they tased me though, it knocked me out. They turned that bitch up all the way. He told me. The cop told me he turned that shit on max. Tased me, knocked me out. So whenever you get knocked out, when you're getting tased, your whole body will like just flex up. All your muscles will flex up. So my neck lifted off the ground. Even though my head was being pinned on the ground by the cop, my head lifted up from tensing, from being tased like that. And this cop smacked my head back in the ground and knocked me out. Knocked me out cold. I got blood dripping down my face. I'm bruised up. I'm beaten up by the cops. I'm in high school. I'm in a high school office. And I got beaten by the police. Yeah, I was cussing them out, but I couldn't move an inch. I was cuffed in the beginning. And they beat the shit out of me. They brought me to jail. I'm gonna tell you something right now. When I went to jail, you know how you go online and look at people's mugshots? That shit was gone. Those cops went to the database and deleted my mugshot. That's one of the things my lawyer, I got a lawyer. I was ready to sue for millions. Trust me, I was gonna make millions. And the lawsuit didn't go as is planned. I got the best lawyer in the city. We was ready. I got an Italian lawyer. We was ready to go crazy. Unfortunately, while I was in jail, my dad made a call to the police, threatening them, talking shit. He wanted to talk to internal affairs. He was talking to the police chief, just talking shit. That's what my dad does. And unfortunately, because of that, I wasn't able to sue. And I'll tell that story again in another video, kind of go more in depth, but I wasn't able to sue. I made $0 off the situation. And it was a f***ed up situation because I'm a smart ass dude who could have got scholarships to go to college, but I had dropped out. They expelled me from school. I said, fuck school. I ended up getting a GED. Now this is a genius. Like I'm going to get my GED. I got a higher score on the GED test than they even go. I got a higher score than the whole scale. Because I was that smart, getting a GED. Just to backtrack a little ways. My dad, when it came to punishment, you know, I told you he held a knife to my mom's throat. But growing up, he would get f***ed up. He would go to the bar. He would do some terrible shit. He would get f***ed up, super drunk, coked up, just hyped up, just on some just super hype shit. And he would come home, and I would be just doing nothing. I'm in the computer, playing the game, whatever the fuck I'm doing. And he would just come with that bullshit. Man, you ain't shit. Just talking all this craziness to me and telling me I ain't worth nothing, telling me I ain't, you know, and it would piss me off. And we would get in fights. We would get in arguments. He would beat the shit out of me. Beat the shit out of me. Pick up poles. I remember one time he had a big pole, and he just, like I remember he was swinging at me. He had this big ass pole, he swung it at me. And I was probably like 15 at the time. He swung this pole at me. I ducked down, hit the ground, try to not get hit in the face. I'm on the ground now, and he just beat my back with it. Over and over and over. Just beat the fuck out of me with this pole. To the point where I was black, blue, and bleeding. And I went to wrestling practice. And my coach seen that shit. Because we gotta take our clothes off to weigh in and check our weight. You can't weigh in, you gotta weigh in your boxers type shit. And, you know, and people seen that shit. It was very embarrassing. And this is just one example of many where I got the shit beat at me as a kid. And it wasn't just no like I got beat with the belt buckle. Like I got beat with, and I know plenty of people been through shit like this. But it definitely affected me because being that my oldest memory was a knife to my mom's throat. And then I get older and I'm just getting beaten, continuously beaten. Not only did it affect my confidence was on 0. Like I ain't shit or worth shit. But also affected just me as a person. My anger was on 100. Always mad, depressed, hated my life, almost committed suicide. I remember one time I was just done with it, bro. Like I was facing 5 years in prison. I got busted by the DEA with 2 ounces of weed. I was already on probation and I got busted with some weed, and I was facing 5 years. The judge told me, you're gonna go to prison. Like I got this new judge. Like I went to court and my judge was like off that day on vacation, so I had some other judge. And this dude went in on me, read all my charges, and he said, you're doing 5 years, whether you like it or not. You're getting convicted, you're going to jail. Now this was like a pre-trial. He was just talking. And I went home that day, and I was like 18, but I was still in school, high school. I was like 17. And I'm at home, and I'm like sitting there. I was on the back porch, and I was in the backyard. I was like, man, I'm finna do 5 years. I hate my life. Maybe I should just die. Because what am I good for? I ain't shit. My dad tells me every day I ain't shit. So what am I here for? So I was in the backyard and I was like, you know what? Maybe I should just end it now. And I had 2 knives. I had 2 butcher knives, which were from my house. And I was gonna put them in my throat. Both of them. Because what am I worth? Nothing. Why am I here? I don't belong here. I'd rather die than deal with this pain. I'd rather die than be here. So I would hold these two knives like this, and I was just about to put them both in my throat. And my brother came to the backyard. He knew. He was at his friend's house, like miles away, and he had a feeling that he needed to come home. So he came home and he found me in that backyard, because we always used to smoke in the backyard. And he found me like that, and he was like, he stopped me. I was literally in the motion of doing it, and he grabbed me, and we both got cut this day on our arms and shit. And he fought me to stop me. He made me not kill myself, because I didn't want to live. And I've been through that, and I almost killed myself that day. And you know, like, he saved me. And it makes me sad thinking about it, because like, why did I feel like that? Just to fast forward, you know, one of the things that really changed my life was like, I'm the oldest child. So my mom, she got sick with cancer. Like after all this, I overcame that. I got on my own. There's so much more I could tell of this story, and I'll probably make a much longer and much more in-depth video about my life. But she got sick with cancer, and it was me being the oldest child. Like I was in charge of her medical decisions. At this point, like my mom got sick with cancer. She ended up divorcing my dad. They separated. So I was the next of kin, as they call it. I was in charge of medical decisions. It was a very hard thing to do. I want to say I was 22 years old, getting full control of my mom's medical decisions during her cancer. It was hard. I grew up fast. I already grew up fast. I was already, like I said, 2 years old, dealing with a knife to my mom's throat, dealing with all that shit as a kid. So now I'm 22 years old, and I'm dealing with my mom, dealing with life-threatening situations with cancer. And that shit was hard. I mean, over the course of like 2 years, I watched her lose more and more weight, do the chemo, lose all her hair, and just become a whole different person than what she was. Because I don't want to paint a bad picture of my mom or my dad. They weren't right. They weren't the people that they really are. They were not right in the head. They were on drugs. They were acting crazy, and it affected me. But when my mom got sick, I realized how much I needed her, how much she meant to me, how much she really impacted my life. So when I watched her diminishing, just becoming this different person, I had the doctors ask me questions like, hey, what should we do? And I'm like, I don't know, just keep her alive, save her. But they couldn't save her. And you know, it got to the point where I finally sat there beside her that day, and you know, her eyes were closed, and I told her, you know, how much I love her and how much how much she means to me. And it was me, my brother, and my sister, and we watched her die in front of us. And it was a hard day. That was the hardest day I ever had to face, when she just died. I'm like, damn. I just realized you could die. A lot of us are here and we don't realize we could die. We're not here forever. I witnessed death and I seen it. She died right in front of my eyes. And I saw her last breath. And that changed my life in so many ways. It completely changed my whole perspective on what life is. And it broke me down bad. And 2 weeks later, my grandfather died. So it was like dealing with all this death back to back, and I had to face it, and I had to deal with it. And it was just, it made me who I am today. You know, I went to my mom a couple months before she died, you know, and I was talking to her, and she says to me, I think she knew she was gonna die. She always used, my mom's Dutch. She's from the Netherlands. She's full Dutch. And she says to me, I'm a strong Dutch woman. I'm gonna survive. I'm a fighter. I will win this. She used to say that all the time. Every time I seen her, she would say this. But there was one time I went there, and I feel like at this point, it was a little bit later on, my mom said, I want you to pursue whatever you love to do. Whatever you really believe in, I want you to put everything into it and pursue it. She said, don't stop till you make it. And I heard her, and I never stopped thinking about that. She said, pursue whatever I love to do, and don't stop till you make it. And this has literally been the way I've lived my life since that day. Is I pursue what I love to do, and I never quit. I never stop. I just keep going. So many people have told me consistency is the way to success. I just don't stop. I keep grinding, I keep going. And this is because my mom told me. She told me don't stop until I make it. And that's what I've done. And that has been my life. I have never stopped. I just keep going no matter what happens. That's how I deal with relationships. That's how I deal with my success. I deal with everything. I just keep going. I don't quit. This is the things that have made me who I am. I've been through so much more shit than this. This is just some examples of shit I've been through. You know, and it makes me sad looking back at this shit. But it also makes me strong looking back at this shit because I went through that. I literally almost killed myself. I literally watched my mom pass away in front of me. I saw a knife to my mom's throat. I seen so much shit in my life, and that's just a couple things that I'm telling you right now. That's what makes me who I am. And people don't know me. I never tell my story. I never just tell people like, yo, this is what I am, this is what I do. I mean, there's so much more I could say. I mean, selling drugs, I didn't stop. After my mom died, I went hard. I was trapping. That's all I knew was trapping because I was so good at it. I spent years selling drugs. And that shit went wrong. I'm not gonna tell this whole story. There's somebody that I wanna bring on to tell this story. The person who really went through this. But let's just say, when you're selling drugs and you're getting money, people will get jealous. People will look at your success and see you making all this money in the streets, everybody fucking with you, it's all love. People will hate, and that's exactly what happened. Somebody that was respected, not my blood brother, but my brother, who I trusted. He was a part of our crew, he was moving with us, everything was good. He got jealous of what we were doing. He sent someone in my house to try to rob me and take everything I did, my safe full of shit, my studio. He wanted to get me for everything. And that person who went in that house never made it out because they got killed that day. When you come in the house, you try to rob people and you shooting, you got guns, don't think that you can do that shit and get away with it in my house. That motherfucker got killed that day. And I'm not gonna tell the whole story as to how he died and what happened, but let's just say he came into my house that I lived in and he never walked out the house. And that's that. And that's exactly what happened. And that shit fucked us up. It fucked me, it fucked everything we had going on up. I had to realize that like, this street shit, it gets deep. When you get in that money, it gets deep. When people get in your way, it gets deep and people die over this shit. And I realized that, you know what, maybe selling drugs ain't for me. And I will do another video addressing that whole situation so you can really know. But just know that I was trapping hard, doing what I did. People have died over this shit. People have lost their life over this. People have gotten killed over this shit. It's an evil thing sometimes to get this money in that way. When you're doing shit like that, it always has a price. When you're selling drugs and you really get into it and people are really watching what you're doing, there's only 3 ways it's gonna happen. You're gonna die, you're gonna die. You're gonna go to jail, or you're gonna have to kill somebody else to keep the shit going. That's how this shit goes. You don't just get this money and there's no price. There's a price. And the price was paid on our souls. And I had to stop. I had to get away from it. To this day, I do not sell drugs. I have completely left it behind because of what happened that day. Once lives were lost, once it got to that point, it was like, okay, I gotta leave it behind. I quit selling drugs. I don't sell drugs, but this is why. It was my life. It was all my experiences that made me who I am. But just to say one more thing, out of all that I've been through, and of all that makes me who I am, the one thing that's made me change and made me become a better person has been Leia. When I met her, she just had such high expectations. She wanted to see me be a better person. She expressed to me what she wanted out of me. And I wanted her so bad because her spirit, just what she stands for, who she is, I valued it. And I valued it so much that I wanted to change myself to be worthy of being with her. And I spent ever since I met her, I spent so much time trying to change and let go of all this anger, all this aggression, all this hate, all this negativity, so I could be with her and be happy. Because one thing I learned from life is, if you're upset every day, that's your life. If you're happy every day, that's your life. Whatever you do every day, that's your life. And I learned from her, I want to be happy. And I fought hard to change and be a better person. And man, you see today in this camera, this is why I am who I am, because of everything I just told you. I decided to change and be a better person, and that's why I am this person. And I just want to say I love y'all. I appreciate everybody for supporting this so much. I don't think y'all ever really knew much about me or about what makes me me. And I'm gonna, if y'all want to see more, let me know. I would like to tell a whole story about this and just go even more in depth in this. But I give y'all a taste of who D-Phlo is, what my life is. And I appreciate y'all. Hopefully y'all aren't gonna hate on me in the comments and say I'm some whatever. This is just me. If you don't like it, oh well, unsubscribe. F you. This is the truth.